Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing YouTube channel for the final time this season here for the Clio Cup on Project Cars 2, and we have got a title decider on our hands here tonight with two drivers realistically in with a shout. In fact, two drivers that are here mathematically in with a shout of this championship. You've got John Boy, who will be lining up in P4, and his title rival WSRCJ taking a crucial pole position here in this qualifying session, 120.3, just ahead of Diabetic Lamb in P2 alongside me on the front row, with Avo Alfonso squeezing into P3, doing a really strong job there. John Boy will start this one in P4. That's all he needs to take this championship. P4 will seal the deal for John Boy, and it'll be his first ever Clio Cup crown here at Motive. He's taken the touring car crown twice, but has never taken the Clio Cup crown. Could this be his night? We're going to have Cobb lining up in 5th place ahead of Ricky P, followed by Ozzy Albi in 7th place, then Connor in 8th ahead of Charlie Goff, who will start this one in 9th place ahead of Smokey Devil, completing the top 10, and then Bean Basher will line up in 11th place, not getting the lap time in that I think he would have probably wanted to there in that session. But nonetheless, we're going to jump to the sprint race here tonight. So just a quick sort of catch up on the championship standings coming into tonight. So it's pretty much got John Boy's name on it at the moment. It's going to take something very special from WSRCJ to keep this one going into the feature race. John Boy has got a 65-point lead over Lightblade in 2nd place, but Lightblade's not here tonight, so his next challenger Jay is 72 points behind him. Jay obviously starting on pole position. If Jay can win the race and John Boy finishes 5th or lower, then the championship will go over to the feature race tonight. So that's what Jay's got to do to keep himself in the hunt for at least one more race. But we're syncing up and we are getting ready to go. Anything can happen here tonight. Who knows? John Boy can end up on his roof. We could be seeing carnage, but it is lights out and away we go. We're racing here at Barcelona, and Jay gets an absolute flyer brilliantly off the line. Diabetic Lamb's already trying to cover off Avo Alfonso. You've got John Boy there, who seemed to have got away reasonably well. Ricky there running ahead of Charlie Goff, followed by Cobb. Ozzy Albi, Smokey, as Smokey's got ahead of Ozzy Albi, and so is Bean Basher. Oh, and Diabetic Lamb with a bit of a slide there coming through turn 1, and we see a bit of chaos there as Charlie Goff caught up in that as well, and I think he's dropped down the order a little bit. Diabetic Lamb's down to P4 as Bean Basher's right on the back of him, so it's been a strong start from Bean Basher, but it's John Boy who leads the race. He's got ahead of Jay. So Jay, was he caught up a little bit in Diabetic Lamb's little moment there as they came through turn 2, as we got somebody off in the background? Ozzy Albi's lost it and he's down to P10. He's had a nightmare coming through the chicane. John Boy leads ahead of Jay, followed by Charlie, who's defending to the inside ahead of Smokey. You've got Smokey ahead of Bean Basher there, followed by Diabetic Lamb, who's dropped down to P6 after that little moment there as they came through the first part of the lap. You've got Cobb there in 8th place ahead of Ricky P, followed by Ozzy and Avo Alfonso running at the back. A big slide there from P3 on the grid. What a shame to see Avo Alfonso struggling on this first lap, but John Boy has taken the lead of the race, and as it stands, we'll be wrapping up the championship here at the end of this sprint race. Smokey a bit wide coming through the penultimate corner out of the chicane. That's going to allow Charlie Goff to have a look down the inside. Charlie Goff's been getting quicker and quicker throughout the course of this season. Smokey there with a better run coming out of the last corner, but we got side by side for the lead. Jay now looking to the inside of John Boy as he's now coming up towards turn 1. Jay's going to just about have the inside line, and he's going to have the car just ahead there coming into the corner. John Boy is going to try and go for the cut back here. Jay a little bit deep, but just about gets the apex there. Jay up into the lead of the race. John Boy now in P2. Smokey ahead of Bean Basher, and Bean Basher's had a flyer of a start. He's gone from the back of the grid up into P4. It's been an electric start here from our former Clio Cup champion under a different name. You've got Charlie Goff there running in P5. He's got Bean Basher, actually he's just got ahead of Bean Basher up into 4th place. Cobb there's made a couple of positions up into P2 ahead of Ricky, followed by Diabetic Lamb. Ozzy Albi, Connor and Avo Alfonso struggling in 11th place right now, but Jay trying to cover off John Boy. John Boy was having a look coming into the end of the back straight, but he couldn't quite make it happen, as we see a bit of a fishtail there from Charlie Goff. That's going to allow Bean Basher up the inside. Bean Basher up into 3rd place. Charlie's now got Cobb looking around his outside. Cobb can't do anything there. as Ricky's looking to try and get involved in this as well. Diabetic Lamb, Aussie Albie and Connor right on the back of them as well, so it's a big train of cars here battling over third place as Beam Basher squeezed through. Cobb there following him through ahead of Charlie. Charlie's lost a couple of places. Charlie almost tagging the back of Cobb there, just doing really well there to avoid running into the back of him, and they come around the corner. Oh, no harm, no foul there between them. Aussie Albie's got ahead of Ricky up into P6 on the exit of the final corner. Ahead of Connor, Alfonso has got ahead of Smokey. Smokey down to P11 here, is not at the lap at all. Jay and John Boy are well clear of the rest of them. They're 5 seconds ahead of everybody else. Jay needs to get some other drivers involved in this, otherwise he is going to be losing this championship. John Boy currently just has to sit where he's at the moment. P2 will be more than enough for him to wrap up this title before we even get to the feature race here tonight. Cobb there in third ahead of Beam Basher, followed by Charlie Goff, and you've got Diabetic Lamb there ahead of Connor at the moment. Alfonso still stalking these guys in the mid pack, but they are absolutely nowhere near the top two, who are racing away here in this sprint race right now. But Cobb, Beam Basher, Charlie Goff ahead of Diabetic Lamb, Connor still right on the back of them. We've got somebody shaping up a move here as Diabetic Lamb is looking down the inside here of Charlie Goff and goes a little bit deep, goes a little bit hot on the brakes there as he came into the corner, but he gets it stopped in time. Diabetic Lamb is up into P5 there. Connor there running just behind ahead of Alfonso. It's Jay leading the race though by 0.4 of a second ahead of John Boy, with Cobb there running a long way behind. Has managed to gap this mid-pack battle a little bit. He's pulled a second to Beam Basher. Beam Basher wide there coming into the chicane. Can Diabetic Lamb get around the outside of him? Diabetic Lamb cuts the inside of the chicane. He's going to have to give that position back. That was gained off the track. He cut the corner there to gain that position. Diabetic Lamb is going to have to yield that one. It doesn't look like he is going to. I tell you what, the stewards might want to have a look at that one, because that looked a little bit dodgy there. Is he going to pull off to the side and let them through? I would have imagined he's probably got to, surely, but no, he is holding on to the position. Beam Basher has lost out to Charlie as well. Charlie looking down the inside. Beam Basher late on the brakes, trying to hold it around the outside, but Charlie's got him done as Connor there just tapped Beam Basher in the rear a little bit there as he had nowhere to go. Alfonso now around the outside of Connor, rides over the curb a bit as in the foreground. Beam Basher there really getting onto the gravel a little bit, but Alfonso's made the move on Connor there up into 7th place. But Connor's not done yet. He's looking to try and keep it there. Abu just running him out of road and gets into P7 once again. In the meantime, it's Jay and John Boy out the front, half a second separating these two. Cobb has actually been reeling him in a little bit whilst they've been battling. Diabetic Lamb is now looking like he's trying to pull away a little bit from Charlie. He's 6 seconds off of the lead at the moment. Can Cobb and Diabetic Lamb bring themselves into this? What about Beam Basher on the back of Charlie? Can Charlie start getting the laps in and maybe start closing in on the top two? There are still under 15 minutes left. Maybe the dream isn't over just yet for WSRCJ, but it is looking like this championship is slipping away, and very much looking like John Boy has got now almost, he's got a hand and a half on the trophy now. He's just got to lift it aloft really at this point, but Jay is still clinging on to his slim hopes at the moment. As Aussie Albie there is coming out of the pits and he's out on the track once again. He's nearly a lap down though, so he's had to undergo some lengthy repairs there. There's Cobb running in 3rd place out of Diabetic Lamb. You've got Charlie Goff defending to the inside from Beam Basher into turn 1. Bit of a lock up there from Beam Basher. Gets it stopped. He's going to actually go for the cutback here on Charlie. Charlie must have got a bit of a compromised run coming through turn 1, but nothing doing there as Beam Basher there really taking advantage of the track limits. That was a little bit naughty there. So yeah, we are seeing a little bit of push in terms of the track limits tonight, and well, the rules here do state that the curbs are the track limits. As long as you've got part of the car on the curbs at all times, you're not actually overstepping track limits. So, you know, we run it a little bit differently, a bit more simplified, I think, because the white lines can be, you know, some people, it can be a little bit subjective, but I think the curbs, it's very clear, you know, what part of the track is the curbs or whatnot. I think it's very clear when you're 4 wheels off of the curb and on the runoff, but yeah, that's the rule that we've got here. Is, as we can see, Jay has still got heavy pressure. John Boy's now got a run actually coming down the start finish straight. Did he manage to get enough of a run before he pulled out of the slipstream? I don't think he did. And Jay, I think, is just going to have the legs on the inside. John Boy's alongside. He's well alongside here. He's going to look to come around the outside here. Jay will have the preferred line on the inside and is slightly ahead. John Boy's going to try and send it, but nothing doing. Jay's too wise and alert to that one and knows what John Boy's trying to do there. That you're certainly not going to get up early in the morning to get Jay around the outside there, John Boy, not unless he makes a mistake. And WSRCJ holding on to the lead for the time being, but Cobb is keeping the gap at around 5 seconds. Diabetic Lamb is falling off the leaders a little bit. He's 8 seconds behind them, but he is pulling away from Alfonso. Charlie Goff has got Connor and Beanbasher going at it behind him, and Beanbasher's got ahead of Connor there up into 7th place, so that's job done there for Beanbasher again. Ricky still going in P9, a little way off of these guys. You've got Smokey Devil there in P10. Aussie Albie is about to be lapped by these two who are still going at it for the lead. And WSR CJ and John Boy, the 2 championship contenders coming into this final round. They're going to be 1 and 2 in the standings by the end of this season. And as it stands, John Boy is going to wrap up this title with 1 race to spare. Obviously, we've got the feature race coming up after this, but as it stands, John Boy is going to get this done before we even go lights out for that final race. As he is now looking to try and go off on a high. I'm sure he'll be trying to get ahead of Jay, trying to win the championship with a race win at the same time. Down the start finish straight they come. Jay will have a little bit of slipstream here from Aussie Albie in front of him, which will be helping him along and obviously preventing John Boy from really being able to get much of a tow. John Boy having a little feint to the inside. Jay sees it and goes for a little sort of late defence there. Wasn't really necessary, I don't think, but he wanted to cover him off. Better to be safe than sorry. But still these two battling it out over the lead as Aussie Albie a bit wide onto the gravel there, and Aussie Albie gets well out of the way, decides to bail in this instance, wants nothing to do with that championship battle, and you've got to say fair play to him. He wants absolutely no involvement whatsoever as Jay and John Boy still battling it out. 0.2 of a second separating these two at the moment as they're coming down to the end of the back straight, as John Boy massive lock up there. Jay just tags the inside of the curb a little bit, but these two no real changes in terms of their scuffle that they're having for the lead. Beanbasher still running just ahead of Connor. These two have dropped off of Charlie. Diabetic Lamb's continuing to pull away from Alfonso. Cobb is not really making the inroads on the top two that he'd like. He is keeping the gap to them, but he's not really he's not closing on them anymore. And this is really the battle out on track at the moment between these 2 championship contenders. And as it stands here, John Boy will take the title before we even get to the final race here, which will be tonight straight after this one. The rest of the pack pretty strung out right now. Very unlike the Clio Cup to see the battles so few and far between. It's certainly not been indicative of this season so far. I think they've probably saved the worst till last in terms of the on-track action, because there's usually battles everywhere you look. It's usually a really difficult to keep up with. But nonetheless, John Boy's looking to the inside on Jay. Jay must have got a poor run coming through that part of the track at the first sector, because John Boy's got a right run, but John Boy can't quite get it up the inside. Jay holding it around the outside there really nicely and keeps it onto it. But that was a hairy moment there from Jay. It looked like he almost got punished there for a little skirmish coming through the first part of the lap, and that's allowed Cobb actually to close up on these guys a little bit. He's gained about half a second there. Through that first sector, as I say that, he has a massive moment there coming through the corner, the left hand of the back straight, and that's just lost a bit of time there, and all that time that he gained in the first part of the lap, he is now lost here. But he was about half a second quicker than the top two. In fact, Diabetic Lamb and Alfonso were both quicker than the 2 leaders as well on that last lap. I tell you what, if they continue to battle it out, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see these 4 guys making inroads. And you know what, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Jay is trying to do a little bit of a Lewis Hamilton Abu Dhabi 2016 type tactic that we saw obviously Nico Rosberg fall victim to in terms of the final race of that season. Lewis Hamilton needed Rosberg to finish 4th or lower in order to take the title, and we all remember he was backing Rosberg up into Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen, and very nearly managed to do it to full effect. But yeah, he's definitely doing something here, is Jay. He is certainly trying a little bit of a tactic here. You can tell he's going a lot slower through this part of the lap than they were in the first part of the race. So I reckon that this could be a little bit of a tactic here. You can see that the gap's coming down, but to Cobb, it's also coming down to Diabetic Lamb. Alfonso is now only 8 seconds off of the lead, but John Boy's gone for the cut back there, coming through the end, the left-hander, and that's now John Boy up into the lead, and it has not worked at all there for Jay. He was trying something a little bit different there to maybe just extend his championship hopes into that final race, but it has not worked out, and John Boy up into the lead. as he really rattles over those curbs. But John Boy just capitalised on a little bit of a slide there from Jay as they came through, and John Boy now leads the race by over a second. Jay has really lost out massively, and he needs to get his skates on now. He needs to really get a push if he wants to keep his chances of extending this championship into the final race alive. John Boy in a title winning position, currently in the lead of this race, and I can't see him squandering this now. Jay's still there. Cobb there running in third ahead of Diabetic Lamb. He's 3 seconds behind Cobb at the moment. There's Avo Alfonso, who seems to be really in. Diabetic Lamb! Oh, Diabetic Lamb overcooks it on the brakes, and he's got a decoy into turn 1. Oh my god, it almost went into the wall there. Diabetic Lamb gets it back on track, but it looked like he just got a little bit of oversteer as he hit the brakes, had to go overcorrect it one way, and then slid the other, and Avo Alfonso up into P4. Kind of surprised we managed to get that on stream of all the times we could have been watching him. We were watching him at that moment. That's quite bizarre. As we can see, Beambasher and Connor still fighting. Well, not really fighting. Beambasher's gapped Connor by about a second. There's Ricky running in ninth ahead of Smokey, and Aussie Albie is about to be lapped by Cobb. There is Cobb just coming up on him right now. Then, as that was a hiccup. But right now, we've got 6.5 minutes left to go. John Boy really aggressive on those curbs. Jay might fancy a run coming down the start-finish straight, but I think he's a little bit too far back. I'm sure that Jay has got better straight line speed than John Boy. He just seems to have a quicker car in these faster parts of the track. But John Boy there with a 4/10 of a second gap as they come over the line. Here comes Jay once again, but he's going to get there a little bit too late. Is he going to look to try and send one or feint to the inside and try and distract John Boy? John Boy there is not going to be phased by the looks of it though at this point. But these two continuing to go at it, and it's looking very much now like John Boy has got his hands on the trophy. Just needs to keep it cool. All he needed in this sprint race was a top 4 finish to wrap up the title. Right now he's doing more than enough. He's currently on course to take the race win, but even if he were to lose out to Jay and finish P2, he would still win the championship, as he was really wide there, I tell you, coming through the chicane. Now obviously he doesn't just need to drop down to P4, he would actually need to drop down to P5. A top 4 finish would actually win the championship for John Boy, so he just needs to keep it cool and keep doing what he's doing. He's in a very strong position right now. He would take something monumental for him to not win this championship now. Needs to keep it cool. Cobb still going there in P3. Has got Avo Alfonso all over him coming through the chicane, but Avo's just a little bit too far back just there at the moment. There's Diabetic Lamb and Charlie Goff still going at it there for 5th and 6th places. Beambasher there just ahead of Connor at the moment. There's a bit of a lock up there from Beambasher. Connor there still fighting hard, still trying to get onto the back of him. Ricky there in 9th ahead of Smokey Devil. Aussie Albie obviously has been lapped by the top 3. He's just a little bit away ahead of Avo Alfonso and Diabetic Lamb on the track. Diabetic Lamb is trying to get back into this fight for 4th place though. And yeah, obviously we saw the mistake coming into turn 1 a few laps ago, but since then he seems to have got it back together and is now giving Avo Alfonso a little bit of a run for his money at this point. As we've got 4 minutes left in this session, Jay's looking to make a move here down the inside, and John Boy, a bit of a lock up there, sees him coming, goes for the cutback. Jay has it covered off. Jay has taken the lead once again here in this one. John Boy now looking on the back of him. Now Jay's got to back John Boy up into the chasing pack here. He's got no option whatsoever. That's his only hope here at the end of this race. We're going to have 4 more laps after this one, as John Boy rattling over the curbs there massively. But Jay has got to try and lose them about 2.5 seconds a lap if he's going to have any chance of taking this title. I don't think that's doable. I think he's just going to go for a race win. At this point, that's unrealistic. You know, just take the race win, be the best man on the night. I think that's going to be Jay's tactic. It would be pointless, because he would need all of the 4 guys behind them to get past John Boy and still somehow hold on to the lead. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. I think that these guys have had great battles throughout this season. Keep it clean, keep it tidy. Let's get this to the end. John Boy would be a worthy champion. Jay obviously leading the Touring Car Championship on a Thursday night by 30 odd points. So obviously that one is looking to be pretty much very much in his favour at this point, but you never say never, because John Boy is also hunting for him in that one. John Boy looking to someone on the inside, going to the end of the back straight, but Jay just holds it around the outside there. Oh, Jay biting the bullet there, wasn't he? And somehow keeping on to this by the skin of his teeth. The gap to Diabetic Lamb is down to 8 seconds, but he's battling with Avo Alfonso as Avo just closes the door on him there. But Jay and John Boy still giving it some, as we have got 2 more laps left in this race. And obviously we've got one more race after this. We've got the feature race coming up shortly. John Boy's got a heck of a run here coming out onto the start-finish straight. And once again, we'll be looking to give Jay a little bit of a run for his money coming down towards turn 1. Here we go, in that slipstream now. John Boy's going to surely pull out of it. No, he's not really getting much of a closing speed, actually, to be fair. He's not really gaining much in the slipstream at all. He now pulls out to the inside, looking to feint, but can't quite make it happen. He's going to keep it there on the inside. Jay leaves him the space on the inside. John Boy has a slight lead, but Jay will have the inside line for the left-hander and keeps it up into the P1 for the time being. John Boy tried going for the cutback, couldn't make it happen, and Jay there just clinging on by the skin of his teeth here for this race win here in the sprint race. John Boy, P2 in this one, has got the championship in his grasp. All he needs to do is stay where he is. Even if he loses 2 positions and drops behind Cobb and Avo Alfonso, he will still take this championship. Jay needs more than just a win. He needs John Boy to have a major moment in this last lap. I don't think it's going to happen. It's now John Boy's got to run once again. Jay gives him the space again. Such clean racing from these two. These two absolute gentleman drivers, but they're so competitive, so fiercely determined to beat each other out on track. But Jay still keeping ahead of John Boy for the time being. John Boy looking to go around the outside into the chicane. Jay a little bit deep. John Boy might go for the cutback here. He could potentially execute this one to perfection, but once again that corner is just a little bit too tight and it's flat out. But John Boy did actually manage to keep his foot down there, but Jay with a nicer run out of the corner had a much smoother sort of route out of it. And Cobb is now actually right in this battle. Whilst we've been watching these two battle, Cobb is now joining this fight here, as he's right there poised to do something into turn 1. John Boy looking to send one down the inside, and Jay gets pushed out a little bit wide there. John Boy's up into the lead. Did he push him out of the way there? I think it might have been a bit of Robbins racing, bit of trading paint between the two of them. John Boy has now taken the lead here, and the champion-elect looking to take his title with a race win. Cobb is right there on the back of him as well. Half a second separating the top 3. Bean Basher, Ricky, Connor and Smokey are battling out over 7th, but we're going to stick with this battle for the lead right now. Diabetic Lamb is also closing up onto the back of Avo Alfonso for 4th place. Coming towards the end of the back straight, as we can see Jay now looking to try to get a cutback. John Boy's got a little bit deep. Jay up the inside is going to go for it here. They're side by side. Jay just squeezing over the curb, and he manages to make the move. Stick again. Great stuff there from Jay. John Boy couldn't do anything about it. Saw it coming. Couldn't cover him off. WSRCJ is going to take the sprint race by the looks of it, unless John Boy can send one into the chicane. I don't think he's going to be able to. Bit of a lock up. Oh, Jay's gone deep. Jay's gone very deep, as now Cobb is looking on the back of John Boy, coming to the final corner to complete the sprint race. It's going to be WSRCJ to take the race win, but John Boy is going to take the championship here for the Clio Cup Season 10 and Project Cars 2 here at Motive Racing. John Boy is your Clio Cup champion, but WSRCJ takes the win. John Boy second. Cobb completes the podium ahead of Avo Alfonso, who finishes this one in 4th place ahead of Diabetic Lamb. Charlie Goff coming out of the final corner is going to take P6 here in this one. So a good race there from Charlie after a really strong start, but tailed off towards the end. Bean Basher is going to take P7. Ricky will come over to take 8th place out of Smokey in 9th. Connor completing the top 10. Aussie Albie was a lap down there. He did finish the race though, but what a race. And WSLCJ taking the win, but John Boy taking the title there with a P2. That's all he needed. He needed a P4 in this sprint race to take the title. So congratulations to John Boy. I'm wrapping that up with one race left in the season. Commiserations to WSRCJ, but he's put on an absolutely fantastic fight this season. And Jay also does lead the Touring Car Championship, which we obviously go into the finale for on Thursday night. So he's got that one potentially in the bag, but John Boy is not going to give him an easy run for sure. John Boy will be looking to try and make it the double in the Clio Cup and Touring Cars, but we'll have to see what happens there on Thursday. But the man of the Clio Cup season this season, and the man of tonight, John Boy, is the Clio Cup champion. Guys, make sure you tune in for the feature race. We'll be posting the link on the Discord server in a few moments' time. Once again, a huge congratulations to John Boy. We'll come back to him at the end of the feature race as well as Jay. But yeah, guys, we'll be back very, very shortly.